welcome to Unscripted Gaming. My name is Stan.
And I'm Josh.
So normally, actually, me and Josh have had a nice backlog of podcasts that we had set up, but this is an emergency podcast.
Yeah, you'll notice that even though the few ones that are coming after this were actually recorded for, where Stan did a lot of talking because there were games that he was more familiar with, but this one's going to be more Josh focused because there were some things that were announced recently that are near and dear to my heart, and I need to talk about them.
Right now, in the background, you're seeing a trailer for what looks like just some ho-hum Nintendo 3DS game. Nope. This is the Metroid game this year. This is Metroid Prime Federation Forces. I sent this link to Josh for this video. Josh, I'm going to let you take it away.
So, Stan, first off, can I just say, do you know what's coming up next year in 2016?
I do, but I'm going to go ahead and give you the honor.
It's the 30th anniversary of the launch of the original Metroid. The 30th anniversary.
Yep.
And
you know what else is the 30th anniversary of?
Mario.
Mario. You know what Mario's getting for his 30th
Some
anniversary?
pretty cool fucking shit.
Yep, Mario Maker and Mario, a new Mario RPG where you get to play Paper Mario and the Mario and Luigi RPGs, all those characters all in the same game.
And we're also coming up on the 30th anniversary here pretty soon of The Legend of Zelda, in which they're getting a beautiful, high-definition, open-world, massive Wii U proper launch.
It's going to be a return to form for the Legend of Zelda series, and I honestly cannot wait.
For the Metroid 30th anniversary, we get a dinky little 4-player co-op shooter based on the Galactic Federation soldiers,
of which you only saw briefly in only a couple games.
And you know what else stuck out to me? You don't see Samus. You don't see Samus at her own fucking birthday.
Nope.
It boggles the mind as to what Nintendo were thinking. But I can also have a pretty good guess as to what they're thinking. So, first off, Metroid Federation Force, and by association, Blast Ball, which, surprisingly enough, a few days before E3, IGN came out and said, hey, this game kind of looks like a Metroid game, Blast Ball. And everybody ran them through the ringers like, IGN, you clickbaity motherfuckers. Come to find out, they were right. It was a Metroid game. But just like Star Fox Adventures, it's pretty certain that Federation Force and Blast Ball did not start out life as Metroid games, but instead got a Metroid coat of paint.
You know, I never thought of that. I was
through the
thinking
development cycle.
Yep. Because I was thinking that as I was watching this, I was wondering, what is this video? And then when they revealed it's Metroid, I was like, my initial thought was like, this game would be a lot better if you didn't call it Metroid.
Yep.
But you do, and now you've broken your franchise doing that.
And we have been, it's been 5 years since a proper Metroid release, and I will call Metroid Other M, as much as I hate to say these fucking words. The 25th
anniversary.
It was a proper Metroid game. It was a full-fledged Metroid story. It was a shit one, but it was one. We've been waiting 5 long years for this, and then coming up on the 30th anniversary, they give us this. They give us Metroid Prime Hunters minus Samus.
Question.
But worse, because there's less story from what we can see of that. Yes, your question.
You're a much bigger Metroid fan than I am. I should say, as is evidence, because we have on our playlist you doing a whole basic let's call it what it is basically a let's play of Super Metroid, of which you've done many times.
Yes.
What would you take? This or another Other M?
I would take another Other M.
You know what? Make the story better and scrap the 2D controls on the directional pad. Other M might be a much better game.
Absolutely. So, the core of Other M had potential. They just tacked on some bullshit onto both ends of it that made it garbage. But it's okay. So here's the thing: not a lot of people like Metroid Prime Hunters. Not a lot of people like Metroid Pinball. You know, they were extraneous games, whatever. But they came in between and right around and with other games. There were Metroid games on either side of those proper games that were coming out at the same time. We've been waiting 5 years, and we get this little piece of whatever, this little fluff piece. So
Fluff piece.
It's one thing to make a standalone mini game, but it's not okay to make it when you've been waiting so long since the last proper release. And it just, and here's the thing, like, it just shows this happening, that Nintendo does not have a fundamental understanding of what Metroid fans are looking for and what they want. They see the backlash from other end and being a very story-driven game and more exposition, and they say, I guess Metroid fans don't really want a lot of story, so let's just give them some, like, shooting and stuff like that and running around.
Are you sure? Because I'm going to go with your original theory of this did not start life as a Metroid game. This started life as something completely different. And then they reformatted it to look more like a Metroid game. Yes, that's true,
but the fact that they're releasing this without another game to support it shows that they kind of like...
Star Fox Adventure is released without a game to support it.
They're just kind of throwing stuff against the wall. But Star Fox Adventures had a story. It had, like... It wasn't just like a sportsy game and a shoot 'em up. It doesn't look... I mean, this game may have something to it, but it just, going off of 56 seconds here, but...
Yeah, the trailer, you might have seen it loop at least twice in this podcast. Yeah. It's not very long. But you get the idea.
But then you release this thing with very little story, and they're going to look at the sales data and go, this thing didn't sell either. I guess people don't really want Metroid anymore. And then that's it.
There is currently, and this is kind of childish, if I could just bring this up, because I just found this while we were talking. There is currently a change.org petition to get this game canceled. Now...
That's dumb.
That's childish. Come on, people. Be real. These are people's jobs on the line, whether you like this game or not. This game is already next to done. Just let it come out. If it's going to do bad, it's going to do bad. But don't petition to have it canceled, for fuck's sake.
I have no problem with this game existing. I have a problem with the timing and the way that it's coming out.
If it was just called Federation Force with no Metroid title at all, like you said, like I've said, it would just be a game that is what it is.
Also, there's no reason... You could even call it Metroid Federation Force. There's no reason to bring the Prime name into it.
Oh, don't tell me the Prime name is killing it for you. It's the entire Metroid Prime title that's killing it for me.
Here's the thing. I guess you could make the argument, since I'm going to grit my teeth here, since Nintendo retconned Prime, calling it Prime Federation Force means that this isn't a canon game. So, that brings my heart rate down a little bit. But still, the Prime series was so tight. They didn't need to tack this on. They could have just called it Metroid Federation Force. But... It just...
You would be equally as pissed if it was called Metroid Federation Force. Because it would still be the Metroid game of the year.
Well, yeah,
or
I'm pissed either way. Because
it's not like these are constantly being pumped out by Nintendo.
It's a slap in the face to everybody who's ever worked on the good Metroid games. It's a slap in the face to the fans. It's a slap on the face to the IP and the series that on the 30th anniversary of the game, we get that. That is what we are treated to. I mean, there's... Even with, like, Other M not being a great game, my God, there were great trailers that we could look at and oogle over and look at the beauty of the game and the movement and just be like, yeah, that's pretty fucking cool. You don't get that. Look at the pew pew. No. Fucking... But either way, this game is not gonna sell well. And Nintendo's gonna look at that and go, man, they really just... Metroid's not really doing well, and there's a lot of fan backlash. So they must just really not want it. They just can't seem to understand what we're looking for, even though we time and time told them exactly what we're looking for. We're not afraid of taking risks or change, but God damn it, do it in the right way. But we're not seeing that, and we're just now... There's just a little. Got it. I mean, you could see that game on the Nintendo 64. You could see that on an iPhone game, just kind of popping around, popping baddies here and there.
If you go to some like hardcore Nintendo fan sites, for instance, NintendoLife.com. I'm sorry, I was typing in the background because I wanted to find out who the developer was that said they had to make this game. I imagine that was for a developer that's a Metroid fan. I imagine that was probably a very painful conversation to have. Especially if any of the developers were actual Metroid fans. One of them must have spoken up and said, "We shouldn't be doing this." Someone must have said that. But anyways, if you go to the hardcore Metroid fan sites, some of them will say, "It's been so long, I'll take anything." Like, it's not that real. This isn't Duke Nukem Forever, dude. It hasn't been 12 years.
No, and I mean, hey, we waited what? 8 years? 8 years between Super Metroid and Metroid Fusion and Prime.
Oh, and what a payoff
we
that
waited.
was.
We waited 3 years between Prime. We're all right with waiting.
Yeah.
You got to make it good, and you know what else? Now I do know that there have been several Metroid games in development that have all been canned since Other M. I'm sure that the reasons are varied, and I'm sure that maybe one of those games could have been great, or could have been the 30th year anniversary game. Mm-hmm. This doesn't restore my faith in this series. It doesn't restore my faith in Nintendo. Even if you're just saying, hey, we're working on it. You know, they go year and year, and fans are begging and begging and begging for something. Not this, but even just a hint that, hey, somebody out there is working on the game. Just tell us that. Just tell us that somebody is working on a project that may come to fruition in a few years. Just let us know that.
They didn't give it to any no-name studio either to go ahead and start making this game. I just looked up the developer's name with all 70 employees it has. Here are the games, big hitter games. They've had a couple big hitters, and I'll go in order of games that... Get out of here, puppy. I'll go in order of games that came out recently and on back. So Luigi's Mansion Dark Mode. It's a good game. Captain America Super Soldier. Okay, not so much. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon, the one that came out in 2010 for the Wii. Wii version. Transformers Cybertron Adventures. Okay. Doc Lewis's Punch-Out. Yeah. The actual Punch-Out for the Wii. Alright, I had that game. Good game. Very good game. Jungle Speed, Ticket to Ride, Spider-Man Friend or Foe, Mario Strikers Charge, Super Mario Strikers, and NHL Hits Pro. So, you know, it's a studio that makes some hits and misses. Kind of like with Retro Studios. They have some hits, they have some misses. It's basically a no-name that you might not have been very familiar with. British Columbia studio, by the way. So they're up in Canada. But, yeah, they are exclusively a Nintendo third-party provider. So here's the thing. I don't mean to try to steal your thunder, Josh, but I thought this was a topic point that I talked about with my wife on the way home. So this game comes out, and we'll pretend nobody buys it. Does this kill the Metroid series?
Well, and that's what I was saying, is that it has the potential to, because Other M didn't sell well, and Nintendo got some gun shyness from the backlash from the community, which mixed reaction to. I mean, that's also partly them not understanding the game and understanding what people were upset about, and just being offended that people are upset. But if this game doesn't sell well, I mean, honestly, and if they can't have the cognizance to understand why it doesn't sell, they could just look at it and say, well, the world doesn't really want a Metroid game anymore.
Which is so far removed from the truth.
What doesn't make any sense is if you look at games like Axiom Verge and Ori and the Blind Forest, and you look on...
Ori and the Blind Forest is a Metroid clone?
It's a Metroidvania style game.
I didn't know that. I might have to buy it now.
But if you look at Kickstarter and you look at Steam, The Metroidvania genre is on fire right now.
Yeah, yeah.
So a proper Metroid game right now, especially after Other M, blow everybody out of the water.
Guacamelee, by the way, another Metroid style clone, in case you haven't played it.
I don't understand what they're thinking, and I honestly think it has a lot to do with the fact that Metroid doesn't do well in Japan. And
that's a possibility. It's more favored here in the Western side.
But then you know what? Just give it to another Western studio. Give it to
Retro did it right.
Give it to Retro. There are other people out there who could do something right with the Metroid franchise, but they just choose not to. Though I will say, there's only one thing they could have done that would have made me.
I'm not mad at the developer of this game. Let's be clear. I don't think either you or I hold any ill will towards Next Level Studios.
No, not at all. This is not. They are working with the hand they are dealt. Honestly, I feel bad for them because they've probably dedicated a lot of time and money to this, and they're not going to recoup those costs.
Now, here's where I will hold ill will to Next Level. If this was your design from the get-go and you were forwarding it as a Metroid game, you done fucked up.
Yeah.
If this was a completely different game and Nintendo said change it to a Metroid game, I get you.
Yeah.
What happens? Nothing you can do.
When Bossman comes in and says, "Hey, do this," you kind of just have to.
You do it. You don't ask questions. Then who pays your bills? Who pays your mortgage and rent? But
yeah, there's only one thing that they could have done that might have made me more upset. They came out and announced Metroid free to Prime. Thank you to my friend Mike for that one. I was having that conversation and
free to Prime.
Threw that out there and got my blood boiling. Somebody call Morton's because there's a salt mine right here at this undisclosed location.
I mean, would you rather a free-to-play Metroid-style game where you participate with a group of friends, or would you rather this, what's coming out? I mean, the question really does become, can it get much worse? You can have no Metroid game, or you can have this.
I'd rather have no Metroid game.
Really?
I'd rather wait more years than to have this little blip in the franchise in relation to it. Again, if this game came out in relation to another game or as a side portion of a proper full flagship release, that's fine. Yeah. But to be like the game that comes out 5 years after Other M, after a long hiatus like that, and that be the only thing to celebrate the 30th anniversary, no, I don't want it. Especially because Metroid is not about 4-player co-op sports games running around shooting baddies. Like that is again fundamental misunderstanding of Metroid and what Metroid fans want.
It's supposed to be open world isolation with your exploration rewarding more exploration.
Yep. And never once did I play the multiplayer in Prime 2 and say, you know what they need to do with this? They need to make a standalone game.
On handheld.
On handheld. Also, release it on Samus's 30th birthday. Also, don't include Samus.
Also, who the fuck is this Samus chick? Get it out of here.
Now, I will say, one cool thing they could have done with a Federation-focused game, and, maybe in an alternate universe or something like that, you're playing Federation soldiers hunting a rogue Samus at some point, either after she has just deserted the Federation or maybe having done something, following the events of Fusion when she got a little upset with them for some things they were doing. That could be an interesting game where you don't play as Samus.
I'll tell you what, with what we got, almost any idea for a true Metroid game that me and you could just kind of spit onto the wall would probably sound like a better Metroid game than what is actually coming out.
Well, hell, I mean, Gotti, there are so many fan hacks of the ROMs out there too, with that have done full-fledged games that are better than this, from single people that are more full-fledged Metroid games than what we're getting now. It's unfortunate, and it makes me sad, and really
feel a little more calmed down.
Huh?
Feel a little more calmed down.
No, I'm upset. I'm still mad, and I hope everything that when this game tanks, Nintendo has the understanding of why it did, and they don't punish us for it.
Tell you what, if they're looking at their YouTube page with its 80K views right now, and its 99% dislike ratio, 99% dislike, I'm pretty sure they're on the page like, this will not do well.
Yeah, well, hey, you know, when Metroid Prime came out, they were so proud of it, and when everybody said they didn't like it, they honestly were like, we don't understand why nobody likes this game. And again, they don't they somehow they don't have a fundamental understanding of what we want, what we like. I know I've said that about 10 different times, but it's true because I want to hammer that point. They just don't seem to get it.
Can I also give props to Nintendo for at least one thing?
What's that?
Normally, when their YouTube videos that they post a game that's supposed to get a lot of hype, when it starts getting this many dislikes and when it gets this many like just vitriolic comments and people linking to the change.org petition to get this game canceled, which by the way I'm gonna say again, it's so fucking childish.
Yeah,
Come
seriously,
on.
that's unnecessary.
Step your game up. You know, if you speak with your dollar, don't put a petition out there to get the game canceled. Just don't buy it. That's how that works. Goddamn entitled brats these days, you know? Anyways, normally Nintendo shuts off the like-dislike ratio, or they keep it locked from visibility, and they will shut down the comments section. They did that, actually, with a recent Sonic game, Sonic Fire and Ice, which was just... No one was liking that game. And so they just shut down the comments section. They shut down the, what is it? The like-dislike bar. But with this, they've kept it open all day long. They've just let what happens happen. So maybe they're taking this as feedback.
God, I hope so.
The only thing we can do is hope.
Yep, but I think that it covers my.
We get it all out there?
Yeah, because if I keep talking about it, I'll probably have an aneurysm, and I don't need that right now. I got shit to do.
Yes, you do. As I mentioned, this is going to be an emergency one. This is going up tonight. So today's the 16th. I'm not going to get it out there as soon as possible. Yeah. I appreciate you guys that have been following us on Facebook. Really love it. You should also follow us on Twitter. I've been tweeting like a madman lately, especially what what certain people have been saying on Twitter. I've been retweeting that, and you should follow those conversations. They're hilarious, in my personal opinion. And also, if you can like us and subscribe to us, you can see more of these videos. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. And I hope this has been Unscripted Gaming. I hope you have yourself a fine night.
Peace.